Dead Man Walking is about a convicted murderer called Matthew Poncelet who is on death row. A nun called Sister Helen befriends him, desperately trying to avoid execution for him. Throughout the movie, we witness the characters forming closer bonds, and we discover the truth about Matthew's crime further in the story with the help of flashbacks we see in the movie. Through their valiant effort to try and stop Matthew being killed, he was eventually given the lethal injection to end his life.
The US legal system, for example, the police, jail and judges, was one of the most obvious and major authorities in the film as it determined the death of Matthew. Another authority in our film was the Bible, stating that thou shalt not kill, describing that it was morally and ethically wrong for Matthew to kill people. The third authority was the Prison Parole Board because it restricted Matthew from leaving jail, which therefore controlled the rest of his life. Sister Helen was the final authority, as she was one of the only ones that cared for Matthew and persuaded him to read the Bible and pray. He listened to her, which made her gain respect and authority. Ethical issue 1, adequate prison sentences. Even though both victims committed the same crime, one was given more rights than the other. For example, Matthew received the death penalty, whereas the other man who did the exact same crime only received a life sentence in jail. Arguments for adequate prison sentences. It's a fair sanction for the crimes you committed. Therefore, you are punished rightly. Arguments against adequate prison sentences. Although they committed the same crime, if one person can afford the resources to pay for a better solicitor who could then argue for the accused person, then he should have the right to do so. Therefore, an adequate punishment is not needed. Our should question is, should each accused person have a maximum amount of money to pay for a solicitor?
Ethical issue 2, capital punishment. Firstly, obvious reason, it takes away one's life. It also breaches the Declaration of Human Rights. No one shall be subjected to cruel or degrading behaviour. Another reason is whether or not it is morally acceptable for the state to execute people, and if so, under what circumstances. Arguments for capital punishment. Number 1, prevention of reoffending. The person cannot reoffend and commit the same crime that may affect one's life. It is a selfish act on their behalf. Number 2, more rooms in jail if capital punishment is allowed. Arguments against capital punishment. Firstly, too expensive. Costs of lethal injection, electric chair, killing with gun, and to other means of the death penalty. Along with this comes the expense of lawyers for the victim and other families involved, which makes the process very costly. Secondly, takes away one's life who may be innocent. Our should question for capital punishment is, should capital punishment carry on into the future?